Alrighty. Welcome everybody to Chicks and Salsa, Three Chicks in a Pod. I'm Megan Price. We got Candy next to me. We got Dawn down below, and then Carrie below us. And Jen will be here when she's able to be here. How's everybody's week going?
Going great.
I was going to say, it's been a great day. I want to say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you for serving. It gave me the day off. So I got a lot of other little odds and ends things done.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
And I
That's
had
awesome.
coffee with a veteran today. So, hey,
Hey,
yeah.
that's awesome. Carrie, how's your week going?
It's been an interesting week in my personal life. So today is the first day that I've actually been able to um, sit and think. So it's been
Right.
a great day, but it's also been a good day that I can reflect on my dad and his service. Um, so, and it's not just my dad, but that's my focus right now is my dad as a veteran. But I have other family members very proud to be a veteran's child. So,
Same.
um, yeah, and like that's a sense of pride. I know there's a
Absolutely.
lot
Yeah.
to be said about those that sacrifice. And Daddy was out of the military by the time I was born. So, I mean, the
What
government
branch
pulled
was
him
he
back
in?
and had made him be discharged from the army before I was born.
Okay.
So it's a whole
Okay.
situation, whole story. But in 1970, you couldn't do both. So, um,
Cool.
good evening, Darnell. We're glad to see you, buddy. Anyway,
There's Jen.
it's nice to have acknowledge those that have given
Hey, Jen.
up
There we
their
go.
lives to protect ours.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to shout out my brother real quick too, because he's my favorite veteran. So, the one that I got to experience during my lifetime. So appreciate his service. He was in the army for quite some time. So appreciate everybody that's been in the military and everybody that is a veteran. We appreciate you guys.
Can
So,
I shout out my dad and my cousin? My
yes,
cousin
definitely.
and
Okay.
my
So
friend Mark.
I may have the coolest veteran story.
Tell it.
Tell us.
My grandfather was a Buffalo soldier.
Oh,
Okay, you
wow.
win.
Okay, so you win.
All right, that's one
even
up.
on the Air Force brat. My grandfather was a Buffalo soldier. Oh
Wow,
yeah,
that's
and
really
my
cool.
cousin was a Tuskegee Airman.
That is
Oh, that's
amazing. That just gave me
cool.
goosebumps.
Yep. So yeah.
All right, Jen. So we're going to talk a little football first before we jump into the real
Okay.
serious topic. And I guess if you're a Cowboys fan, it is serious. So, we want to start with just saying our condolences to everybody that knew Marshawn or was a fan or a family member
Right.
or girlfriend, and just talk about mental health awareness and how important it is. So,
Right.
um, well, let's to start off week 10 for the NFL. We had the Raiders versus the Broncos, and it was a barn burner, you guys.
I mean, no, it's just
That
a, I mean,
Broncos
that was
won
a
this
besides
one.
crazy
not football this
game.
weekend.
Uh, the Broncos end up winning this one 10-7. I know for Carrie, this is and Dawn, this is within your division here. Any thoughts on this game?
It was a great sleep aid. Oh wait, no, that's not what we wanted. Um, it did make me question. I appreciate the fact that the Broncos have such a great win loss record,
Right.
Hmm.
and I also appreciate the fact that our division is getting stronger.
Hmm.
I question the um the talking heads saying that the Broncos are here to unseat the Chiefs based on who they beat, but they also have this same love affair with the Bills. So the way I looked at it is I broke down how many win loss records that the Bills have won and the Broncos have won against, and
Mhm.
both of them have beat losing like the teams they have beat, all save a few on both sides, are losing record seasons. So
Right.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just putting it
between
out there. I
them,
do feel like
yeah,
the Broncos are the Bills of the AFC West. But go ahead.
I think between I say the same thing about the Colts and the Broncos.
Okay.
They have these, they have, their season this year, yes, they're doing well, but let's be honest, look who they've been playing against. Like,
No, that's very
so
true.
I
So I'm
mean,
looking at the opponents for the
yeah,
Colts real quick. I would say probably the only win that really carries a ton of weight here is the well, and that was a loss for them. The Rams. They lost to the Rams
yeah,
27 to
they
20
lost.
back at the end of September. They did beat the Chargers in the middle of October, so that win has a little bit of weight.
It has some
Other
weight,
than
yes.
Yeah, other than that, and then their other losses to the Steelers, and I got to say, I'm not too impressed with them. Losing to the Rams, and it was only like one touchdown differential there. I would say that that's still, I don't want to say a moral victory, but I would say they probably played them well. Now, they won yesterday, but to the Falcons in overtime. How much,
Correct.
right? How
Right.
much validity do you give that win?
This is like, I used to go to the Falcon games all the time.
I'm
And so
sorry,
I'm going,
Dawn.
yeah, I know. And so I'm just like, living in Atlanta, you go to the games and I'm
Right.
sitting here going, we used to call them the Falcons. And I'm going, wait a minute, the Falcons are beating them. And I kept looking at the game and I'm like, and I almost turned the game off. And then I was like, no, watch the whole thing. And I'm going, wait, what's going on? And they're supposed to have this great record and they're beating you. And you had to go into overtime to beat them.
Right.
That, yeah. So, I mean, who are they between the Broncos and the Colts? Like, who are they going to be playing over the next couple of weeks that we can really see how well Carrie's shaking her head? How well they're really, what's their competition? Like, are they really being competitive? Or did they end up with a really easy schedule that basically is
You know
just
what
going
it
to
kind of
fly 'em
reminds
under
me
the
of? Y'all
radar?
remember when the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers were like 10-0? And they were
Uh,
like the worst
no.
undefeated team of all time, in my opinion. Like, I was
Oh,
not
I thought that
impressed
was
with.
the Panthers.
No, man. So obviously their
You
next
want me to
game
move
is
to
going.
Charlotte? Really?
I do want you to move to Charlotte. I need you. Candy,
So the Colts
Carrie,
next
Megan,
game.
y'all keep turning me down.
Oh,
The Colts' next game is obviously going to be at Carrie and Dawn's Chiefs. They are going to be at Arrowhead the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So the 23rd, this is going to be a 1 p.m. Eastern game. I think this is the game you see what they're made of. You have to be able to go to be a winning team, in my opinion, to be a contender. You got to go on the road and you got to have some road wins against teams that actually have some validity. So this is it. I don't think you necessarily have to win this game for me to respect the Colts, but you got to play them well.
Yes.
right.
You
Correct.
can't come in and let us dominate like we did the Commanders.
And that's
Correct.
going to be a rough week for us because we're going to have two games. We're going to have
Mhm.
one Sunday and one
Oh,
Thursday.
right.
We play,
Right.
wait, we play your Cowboys.
Right.
Wait, is that even a game? Hold on.
Merp. I don't.
I'm going to tell Candy this. Green Bay at least has a really good defense.
Oh, yes. That game last night was good.
It was good. It was
it
That
was a
very
game
very
was
good. I'm not
really
gonna be-
good.
Like,
For
I'm
a
not
It's entertaining.
zero score at halftime, yes. I mean, who would have thought?
who would have thought? I had my lowest points wrong. I'm like,
I mean, I will say that, and you could say this probably of most or a lot of teams. There are a lot of injuries that have crept up this year, and like Green Bay has a lot of them. They've
Yes.
we were without a couple of our top receivers, our top tight end, a couple of our O line went down or is already out. So yes, our defense,
Correct.
has played really well. And to give you guys an idea, the Broncos play the Chiefs on the 16th. Now the Broncos did go into Philly and beat Philly earlier this year, so they have a little bit more of, I think, of a better win per se than.
Well,
And
but let's look at who they barely beat. The Raiders and Justin Fields Jets.
Yeah.
But I would almost venture to say that this year I've seen more parity in the league completely. Like if you think about, you guys just talked about my Packers. My Packers, so the 3 losses that they have were all by 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Like there's more parity, I think, in the league completely. You know,
Mhm.
and I get that. Some teams are more elite and stuff like that. But I think this year, any given team on any given Sunday.
Oh, it is
Who would have
definitely
thought we would have
it is
lost?
definitely any given Sunday.
Who would have thought we would have lost to the Saints? Like literally, I did not.
No,
have
I
that.
was surprised by that. I didn't expect that. I expected a little bit more out of the Panthers. Was it a home game? It was a home game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the Panthers. Yeah, I expected them maybe for it to be a close game. I don't think either team is a really good team, but I think the Panthers
Agree.
are probably an edge up on
Yeah.
New Orleans. So I was surprised by that. We have somebody in the comments that said they love the Miami Dolphins. Speaking of a massive win,
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you, Dolphins. I was a Dolphin fan for this long.
Yeah.
well,
I'll
say
you were
their-
saying that, sir.
Their coach is a madman. He pulled up onto a known Bills bar and was out there trolling outside after the win, and which is hilarious because only win the dude's probably going to have this season that actually has any weight to it.
Right.
And if he finishes the season, it'll be a miracle. So I guess congratulations to him. And hey, Miami fans, I know it's a division rival, so congratulations on a great win for you guys. No matter what the Bills or the Patriots do, no matter how good their seasons are going, Miami finds a way. And
Against
you can
those two
count on
teams,
it.
yeah.
You can't actually put any weight into that decision of, oh yeah, I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win this game. On paper, there's no way the Dolphins are winning this game, but here we are. Congratulations, guys.
And it's funny because I had that feeling last week to pick the Dolphins. I'm glad I didn't. And then I kind of had that feeling again this week. And I'm like, no.
Right.
It was
Well,
like, there's no way.
Right.
That was their one. So yeah, and division
That was
games,
their one.
division games are more tricky than a magician. I absolutely agree with that. That's a great comment.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than just winning the game in a division.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
So are we done with NFL? Do we want to
Well, we
slide
do
over?
need to mention that we did lose our last commissioner. He passed away.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
And we've had some random injuries this week. And, you know, I hope a couple of players are out for the season. And don't worry, Candy. You guys will still make it to the playoffs. I promise. If you want. I was not knocking you guys. I actually respect Green Bay a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I looked at my dad and I go, are we going to screw up and win this game? He's like, why are you putting that in the universe? It's like, okay.
Rob, I have absolutely got to agree with this comment here. It is a cluster. Like you don't know week to week. I think Candy, you had it right. Any given Sunday, you don't know what's going to happen. So, all right, let's slide over to NCAA basketball real quick. So I have an affliction for the women's side of things, so that's what we're going to talk about. We've had, yes, the guys are playing, clearly. They're playing as well.
Hey, wait now. My team's in top 25, so come on.
Mine too.
Mine three.
Okay, at Wisconsin and Dawn, who's your college?
Hey, you. I'm a Kansas alum.
Okay. Of course, y'all are in the top 25. What are you talking
And
about?
that's why you need to move down here.
So, now on the women's side of
another sports bar fans with KU fans. Carrie will like that. Or not like that. I don't know.
But I am going to try to watch more of the
she's
women's this year. I am going to try to make an attempt to watch more of the women's.
Yeah, I'm not really into KU.
Carrie,
I don't know if you noticed this or not.
Sit back, Carrie. Sit back.
Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Not really into KU.
I'm just saying, Carrie, you're a little closer to Dawn than the rest of us. So, you know.
Yeah. You know, all of us have a flaw. Mine is obviously not picking the right team.
Now, on the
Wait.
women's side of things, we've already had some non-conference impact games. So on the 3rd, we had Baylor, who came in the preseason rankings at 16, playing Duke. They were at home. Duke was at home for this game, and Baylor ends up winning this one 58-52. Duke was sitting at number 7 at the time. Then on the 4th, we had Tennessee versus NC State. These two teams were right by each other in the rankings. Tennessee at number 8, NC State at number 9. We know Tennessee is the team that's coached by Kim Caldwell. She has a really impressive way of substituting her ladies about every minute, 45 seconds. She throws in 5 sets of fresh legs. She rotates them all game long. And it's a nightmare whenever you're playing them. And then,
but I love it. I love that idea.
I'm on the opposing side because I'm in the SEC now. And so, yes, I respect it, but it's hell when you're tied and there's a minute left and she hits you with all fresh legs. Like, Kim, are you serious?
I love it. I love it.
I love that NC State won.
You all know that I believe that should happen. So, yes.
Yeah, NC State won, and so by 3 points, they end up winning this game. And I want to say NC State has probably one of the most difficult non-conference schedules. So mad respect to them. I think this is going to show some big growth for them come March time. Then we had USC versus NC State. Once again, NC State, USC sitting at number 18. And so they're not necessarily the team that they were last year without Juju, because obviously she's not playing for the entirety of this season. But they still have some clout. They were sitting at number 18, and they win this game by 1, 69-68. Now, sliding over to last night, we had one more impact game as well. We had OU versus UCLA. OU was sitting at number 6, and UCLA was sitting at number 3. UCLA wins this one 73-59. So a couple of games that you can look forward to this upcoming week. On the 13th, you got UNC versus UCLA. On the 15th, you've got Notre Dame versus Michigan. Also on the 15th, you got South Carolina versus USC. And then on the 16th, we've got several games as well. Ohio State versus UConn. Ohio State's not ranked right now, but they always find their way into the rankings.
They sure do.
So while they may not be in the top 25 right now, I'd say they're probably in the top 30. Like, they're just sitting right outside the top 25. So I expect that game to be really good. Princeton versus Maryland. Princeton is not ranked as well, but they always find a way as well. So and Maryland's sitting at number 10. Also,
what
on
about
the 16th,
South Carolina?
South Carolina's sitting at number 2. So they will be playing USC on the 15th. They will be in California for that game. On the 16th, we got TCU versus NC State again. Like I said, NC State.
Okay, we need to get you to cover that game.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. That would be a huge game to cover.
They have a tough schedule.
I'm sorry, I got a little
We'll have a really tough non-conference schedule. Absolutely.
Wow.
And let's see. That's all for this week. Next week, we will have Baylor, Iowa, and USC versus Notre Dame. So there's some good matchups over the next couple of weeks. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Let me see here. The head coach.
Absolutely.
No, honey, you couldn't pay me to coach. You could not. Now, you could pay me to GM, but you can't. Mavericks, I heard you just fired your GM. There's an opening.
No. And I'm right there. I'm 15 minutes away. Why not?
Look, the amount of money they're paying, I'm not going to say I'd be a Mavs fan, but I'd be a Mavs employee.
I mean,
hey, Megan, I will be your press secretary. Just putting that out there.
Exactly.
But I also am going to apply for Brian Dayball's job. I forgot to tell everyone that.
I forgot about that.
You know, that might be one I could do.
Yeah. Hey,
I sent my dad's resume in for that one though, Carrie. I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, then I guess I'm falling back on Penn State again. All right.
You know what? I'll get them to hire both of you ladies as assistants, though.
Okay.
There you go.
I mean, I'll take assistance pay all day long.
Right? I will too.
I'll be honest,
not to work. I'm liking that aspect. Just pay me not to work. That's all I'm asking.
Jimbo Fisher chimes in. All right, so let's get to our little more serious topic. So we've got some legislation that is trying to be pushed through at the moment. We've got two different versions of this. And so I think everybody can agree that we're going through the growing pains right now for college sports. Everything has changed. They are not amateur athletes anymore. They pay for play legally above the table. It was happening before, but it's happening on the legal level now. And as of July 1st, it came down to where the institution itself could pay them directly. So you're able to get name, image, and likeness, and you're also able to be paid directly from the educational institution as well. So like I said, I think we can all agree that there's some things that need to change. They changed conference realignment, and this was a big part of this as well, because we no longer have Power Five conferences anymore. We've got Power Four, something that the SCORE Act, some of the things that are within it lean more towards SEC and Big Ten, where and kind of leaving out some of the other conferences. And then also you got to think about the other institutions that are not necessarily even D1 schools. You know, you have some that are D1 and they're not in power conferences anymore. You know, the Pac-12 exists, but there's how many schools in there? 6, 7. And they're not a power conference anymore. And then you got the WAC and you got the MAC, and there's all these other conferences, and they don't carry the same weight. We know this. But now literally they're not going to have the same money either. So there's some things within the SCORE Act that are really positive. And then there's some things where I think there's some discrepancies. So this was introduced in April. Correct. And so the SAFE Act has been introduced as well over the last month. And so I think that this is kind of similar to what's going on in the WNBA. You got the athletes on one side here, and then you got the league and the ownerships on the other side, right? And somehow they got to find some middle ground. Like they've got to give a little bit on both sides for them to be able to come to that. So I think that hopefully we can find a version of this that'll bring something into play from the SAFE Act, but also bring in some from the SCORE Act too, because it seems like the SCORE Act is predominantly for the institution, whereas the SAFE Act is predominantly for the student athlete. And so you got to find some middle ground on that as well, because the institution also has to be profitable. But I'll say this before we kind of jump into all the facts of the SCORE Act and the SAFE Act.
We might have to segue into this into next week too.
Oh, for sure. No. This is not going to be a one-time topic here.
Oh, no. This is going to be our next like multi-part series.
For those of you that followed us since the beginning, we did Title IX, and it was a month and a half long. So we like these types of things, but we definitely want to bring it to light and then start dissecting it.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give a little segue into what type of money the NCAA makes, they make $2.8 billion in one tournament, 1 year, one tournament of March, the men's March Madness. Every single year, that's the type of money for one event. One event. That's the type of money that they've been making this entire time. Now, obviously not the same type of money 50 years ago, but they've been making money this entire time. And so they also have a settlement in place at this moment that they are having to pay former athletes over the last 10 years. And so this will also directly affect that as well. So Jen, you want to kind of throw us into the SCORE Act, and then we'll talk a little bit about the SAFE Act too, and then we'll cut out of here for the night, and we'll be back next week, and we'll still be talking this.
Exactly. So basically the SCORE Act also really entails a lot of, and this will also hopefully like segue into a really cool repeat guest on our show, but it will also, not only does it protect NIL, and does it also is to, help with the transfer portal. And the transfer portal, it needs to be evened out. There needs to be hard and fast rules, because you can't have one player transfer 4 or 5 different times. 5 different times isn't so much working anymore, versus another player who is trying to come back home after maybe their third college
Right.
Because I know one college here in North Carolina, there was a very great tight end who played, who wanted to come home. And honestly, the university had to sue the NCAA to allow him to play because it was his
Right.
third school. Whereas other college football players had transferred 4 and 5 times. So
Right.
why are you coming at this school? So it's to help solidify that. It's to also bring like more fiduciary duties, which what we found out when the ACC senior women's commissioner for Jackie Carson was on, when these kids have their agents and stuff, they're supposed to have their own financial people too. So
Mhm.
the Square Act's supposed to do some of the financials. It's supposed to also help with some of the mental health stuff.
Right.
Well, but at the end of the day, it's also still just benefiting the NCAA. And we all know that
Correct.
the NCAA will always go after at least one school this year, if not multiple. And so why give them more power? And it really stinks because, as Commissioner Phillips said at tip off, they none of the conferences wanted to go to Congress, but they had to
Right.
because NCAA was stepping too much in. So then in September, um, Senate Democrats Maria Cantwell from Washington and Cory Booker from New Jersey and Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut introduced the Student Athlete Fairness and Enforcement in September.
Right.
And it's a direct counter to the SCORE Act, where the SCORE Act stands for Student Composition and or Compensation. I said composition, compensation and opportunity through rights and endorsements, which is important. Like we all saw how much
Right.
money. Okay, Megan, because you're younger, maybe not you, but I know you know about it. Like Michael Jordan made for Carolina. We
Mm.
know how much, um, like, um, before all this happened, like, I was about to say Kobe, but he didn't go to college.
Mm-mm.
Not a slam, but like, had he gone to college, how much he would have gotten. And then like, Green made so much for, didn't he go to Duke? I know Jason Tatum made a lot of money for Duke. So I mean,
Mhm.
I'm naming ACC schools because that's what's hitting me right now. Sorry, but they needed to have been compensated because they brought peep fans in, right?
Right.
Right.
And so that was only fair. And more than just the scholarships, because what NIL does do, it does give more scholarship money, but it also
Mhm.
hurts the recruiting pool too. Unless you're like a Dabo Swaney, who still doesn't really use the transfer portal. He kind of has to a little bit, but he wants to build their
Right.
own culture. He doesn't prevent his student athletes from using it, but it's to make everything even and above board. The SAFE Act is to make everything even and above board for the kids, which is what needs
Mhm.
to happen. Because I'm sorry, but if I was in college and I'm getting even $500,000 a year, bet your bottom dollar that money would have been blown on a lot of frivolous crap.
Right.
But
Right.
but here's my thing. I believe that yes, student athletes should get paid because they do
Mhm.
bring a lot of money. I'm in an alumni of a school that,
Yes.
our basketball team brings in crazy
Yeah.
stupid money from our alumni. Should they get paid? Yes. Should they have advisors? Yes. Should those advisors be outside of NCAA, but they should
Absolutely.
have, it's the same way you're a sports agent and you have to go through all the
Mhm.
class and you have to pass the test. I think you should do the same thing for their advisors. Yes, I like the fact that it has a 5% cap for their agents and not a
Right. I thought
10%.
that was really good on the SCORE
I
Act.
like, yeah, I like that part. It's a 5% cap, but I
Mhm.
also feel
I do too.
like they should have some type of trust. I don't care if
Yes.
they make 25,000 a year or they get 500,000. They need where they cannot have access to all that money at one time. Cuz I mean, 18 to 25, you're going to be blowing money. And so in order for them to be protected, we need to protect them in all avenues. But
Right.
to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you health insurance, but you're not gonna be an employee, okay, then maybe we need to figure out if they're not an employee of the school, then that the NCAA has a separate department that they are employees of the NCAA overall. Like they've got to figure
I
out
hadn't thought about
something.
that.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
because if you're not an employee of the college, maybe you can be an employee of the NCAA. I hadn't thought about that. That's
correct.
interesting.
And so that way they need some protection because I mean, not everybody has a parent
Right.
or someone in
Right.
their corner that can help guide them. They may not, I mean, some of these students, they are the first person in their, we still have people who are the first person in their family to go to college. Their parents are not understanding when a coach or a scout or somebody is sitting there explaining to them, hey, we're going to give you this, this, and this. Oh, and by the way,
Mhm.
okay, well, some parents aren't saying, "Are you going to make sure my child graduates?" What if they get hurt? I've seen in the past if somebody gets
Right.
hurt, then what do they have? They Why should you lose your scholarship because you get hurt? Like, there's a whole lot of things before we start saying, "Let's pass all this." We need some protection for some 18 to 22 year olds who are coming
Agreed.
straight out of high school, haven't taken economics, maybe haven't taken personal finance. They have no idea what they're doing. All they know is, oh, I'm getting a check, and they don't know to put the money in some kind of like a 401k. They don't have anything that
Right.
protects them past right then, and they don't have anybody. And then you have this person who is like a sports agent and all these other people who are coming at you, and they're not protected because that person is
Right.
talking over their head, and the parents are like, well, I don't really know, and I don't know who I can call. I don't have those connections. Yes, some people do, but I mean, if my son goes and plays professional soccer, do I have those connections? Absolutely. If he goes to become a kicker in the NFL, I have those connections. I know what to do. But there may be somebody he played with that is like clueless. They have
Right. Totally.
no
Right.
idea what they're doing. We've got to we can't say we want them to do this, but we're not protecting them. And for me, I feel like they have not protected these kids all along, all this time. Now they're able to make some money. Why you're not now? You don't want to protect them, and they're going to have crazy money. That no, they gotta
Well,
protect them along the way.
And I am a
Candy,
huge, huge advocate of all pro athletes, all student athletes having to take personal finance classes. I'm a,
Correct.
and then I'm also a huge advocate of them having a list of different fiduciaries who are legit. And having a
Yes.
fiduciary is actually smart because honestly, I should have gone to school for it because you can make a ton of money. You can genuinely help people as a fiduciary. And
Mhm.
I would love to help them and educate people on their money. And you get a monthly income.
right.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's such a smart way because it's like a more secured almost 401k.
Mhm. Yep.
I mean,
It
just to
should
put
be
it
a
very
trust.
basic, logical,
Mhm.
financial terms.
It's
Very
It
candy.
should be a trust. It should be a trust, and there should be a
Yeah.
cap on how much they can get every single month so that they have money later on, and they're
Mhm.
not buying extravagant things. They're not,
Right.
I mean, they're not going to go, oh yeah, well I made 500,000, so I'm going to go buy a G-Wagon. Like,
Okay,
Right.
Georgia football. We're talking to y'all.
I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna start being the cold person here. I'm not gonna look for it at the business side of it. What if you're an 18-year-older and all of a sudden you go on YouTube and you make millions on YouTube? You're not regulated, but yet here you're going to
Oh,
be a
that's true.
athlete and get regulated. I'm like, you just got to be really careful what precedent we're setting, and
Yeah.
Right.
all
correct.
of a sudden you're saying that, oh, I should get insurance, but I'm not like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was in college, I was covered under my parents' insurance. So
Correct.
but so it's like there might be some kids that aren't. There are some that are. But how long
Yeah.
do like if I got hurt, if I had a job at 18 and I went out and worked and I got injured, I'd get workman's comp. That's only a percentage as opposed
Right.
to student athletes. You have to be really careful, I think, what precedent we're setting because it's almost like they're working, but yet they're not. But they get a free education. Like,
Right.
it's a balancing act. And I get the NC2A has made a boatload of money.
Now here's the
But
thing. I don't believe they get a
free
free education.
education,
It's
but
not
like
free.
Well, and even at that, even at the education point, that's not the correct level of compensation there. We're talking one, they're making billions off of one tournament, one event. That doesn't equal, oh, you get a free ride. Like that, there's a
No,
huge disparity between
because
those.
here's the thing.
Mhm.
It's here's what I'll say. When you say somebody's getting a free ride, so just say somebody gets a full ride scholarship and they're going to school and they don't have to go to work. They don't have to do anything else but study. Student athletes, not only do they have to study, and yes, they get tutors and everything else, but they also have to spend so many hours a day going to practice. That's having a
Right.
job. That's a
Yeah.
job.
And
So,
traveling is not cheap. Like, yes,
and
they may pay for
correct.
your room and board, but they're not paying for everything when you travel. Does anybody?
And
It's not
yeah,
all inclusive.
it's not all
Correct.
inclusive, and so you can't say like, oh yeah, well they're getting a free ride. It's not a free ride. Like for me,
No, it's not a free ride.
I didn't have to work in college. So can somebody say, yes, you got a free ride? My parents paid for it. So yeah, I got a free ride. My parents done it. But so I didn't have to do anything but go to class and study. For the athletes, they got to go to class, they have to study, they have to go to tutoring. Like that's a requirement.
Right.
I didn't have to do that. So there's a lot of things that they have to do to make them successful to graduate, because we got to remember back in the 70s, these guys were going to college and they weren't even getting an education.
Right.
They were
Right. That's a good
playing
point.
and not even graduating. So the rules came along and they were able to say, hey, we got to make sure these kids are graduating from college. So
Right.
that was step one. Okay, now we're like, well, okay, but they're taking out, I don't know, maybe what, how many hours a day do they practice? 3, 4, lift weights
At
and
least,
everything else.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
usually. I mean, it's their job, but it's also what they've signed up for as well. Just like
oh yeah,
a
they
non-student
have.
athlete, it's their job.
Mhm.
They sign up for it as 17-year-old kids, though.
Right. But it's
Exactly.
also been their passion their entire lives.
Right.
I
Correct.
don't know if our
That's
audience
why
realizes this, but we are all incredibly passionate about this.
yeah.
I'm going to,
It's just fun.
I'm sitting here because I'm really enjoying this, but I'm also noticing that we're 37 minutes and we've
Right.
got Candy that has to be jumping off very quickly, and we would like
Oh,
to
that's
let her
right.
get
I'll
a
say
breath.
this. When
Huh?
we were at tip off, Megan, and like I think you guys all kind of thought I was like full of it when I was like, no, I really want to talk about this. Megan started listening to Commissioner Phillips and her eyes were getting big, and she was like, oh my gosh, Jen, this is huge. And it was like, right,
Right.
I know.
It's huge, but I actually see now that even in
Yeah.
the amount of time since tip off, the SCORE Act has changed. There's
Mhm. It has.
another, there's the SAFE Act that has become in a direct response to that. So much has changed. Just like Title IX is a changing piece of legislation every single
Yeah.
year. This is going to be something of a similar effect. So, guys, we are going to cut out for this week. We appreciate all the comments, even
Yes.
the weirdos on YouTube. Why are y'all so weird?
I was like,
I don't know if y'all saw that.
I was like, how do I block? But I couldn't log in, so I had to
I
come in
didn't
and
see
Right.
it.
refresh.
I
There are
missed
some
it.
people
Oh,
on
there's one near
YouTube
the
that
very top. We blocking that user. Yes, ladies, we
definitely.
are.
So we will be back next week, and we will be talking about more about the SCORE Act and about the SAFE
Yeah.
Act. And just as college sports change, we're going to continue on this topic. Thank you guys so much for watching, sharing, commenting. We will be back next week. Thank y'all.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
week,
guys.
everyone.
bye bye.